All right, so hello everybody and welcome to this Zoom session with me one more time. Helen, Red Dog, Sam, you're very welcome to unmute yourself and to turn your video on because hi Sharon. Yes, I can see so many people. Let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. So Sharon just joined. So this is going to be like 30 to 40 minutes long Zoom session, really quickie. And I'm very happy to answer your questions related to like sketching or interior drawing, interior design, anything that you wanted. Hi, oh my goodness, Helen is from Manhattan, so it's probably perfect timing for you, something like 8 p.m. Yeah. So Q&A session also at the very beginning, I want to share with you great resources for those who want to start interior sketching, for those of you who want to make interior sketching your career. Maybe you want to become a sketch artist, right? I know that a lot of my students, they used to be either interior designers or they're studying interior designers, for example, but they realize that they want to invest more their time into drawing. Hi, John. And they wanted to shift careers and they wanted to switch from interior design to becoming a sketch artist. So I have great examples of my students who are drawing now sketch commissions for companies and interior designers all over the world, like States, Canada, Europe, Russia, like everywhere in the world. So I wanted to first share with you a couple of free resources on my website, because I know that a lot of you are not familiar with what I do or just maybe joined. So let me share the screen. And I want to show you. Okay, I think it will be easy because otherwise I wouldn't see who is joining currently. So I just want to tell you that my website is schoolofsketching.com, and very often number one question is which markers, which materials I should opt in for to begin with interior sketching, right? Very often for people, it's kind of a struggle. They're like, oh, I should spend hundreds of dollars on Amazon to buy all these expensive Copic set markers, right? Let me know in the chat for those of you who had thoughts like that. And yes, actually, I remember how I began. I began with literally one marker, and I still remember what was the color and what was the brand. It was Pro Marker, and it was like vanilla beige, and I instantly felt in love with this new media for me, because I previously used to draw in watercolor, in ink, oils, acrylic, tempera, everything, but not professional markers. Hi Mihiko is joining us live as well. And the first moment I introduced myself to markers, I instantly felt in love with them. So what I want to tell you guys, that you don't need like 60 or even 32 colors in sets of markers. Basically what you want is like 7 colors. So what are they? I mean, if we are talking about interior sketching, if we're talking about sketching in general, like fashion sketching, urban sketching, industrial design sketching, there will be a bit different set of markers. But I know, hi Kenny. I know that a lot of you are architects or interior designers or interior design students. So please let me know in the chat, you guys, if you are an interior designer or interior design student, maybe architecture student or an architect. Probably you've noticed at art supply shop that there are particular sets of markers for architecture. For example, Copic, they have sets specific for architecture sketching, but I've never seen, at least by now, specific set for interior sketching. And if I would be in Copic company, I would create that. And which colors it would include? First of all, 3 most important colors for interior sketching. Grays, grays, grays. Yes. Even if you don't have any markers, but you have 3 grays, and I will let you know which one now. But maybe you have colored pencils, or maybe you have acrylic, and you have these 3 grays, your interior sketch will look wonderful, because interiors, they are kind of boxes that we live in, and we have windows, right? And we have light source, and there is this beautiful play of light and shadow that's happening inside our spaces. And when you start introducing light and shadow, you easily can create a specific ambience. You can show textures with only 3 markers. So what are they? These are basically light gray, medium gray, and dark gray. If you work with Copics, it could be neutral gray number 2. It's usually indicated as N2. Next, it could be neutral gray number 4 or 5, because if we take neutral gray number 3, it will be too similar to N2, right? And N2 is quite light, but it's not as light as, for example, N1. So N stands for neutral, and neutral is really beautiful, because in interior sketching, in grays, there are like cool tones of grays, there are warm tones of grays, sometimes also referred as French grays. I really love this name, and neutral grays. I remember that I started with neutral grays, and they are perfect if you mix markers, if you layer next colors on top of them, because if you work with cool grays and you put color on top of it, it might look a bit strange. But if you work with neutral grays or warm grays and you put like bright colors on top, it looks like wonderful. I tested it. So 3 grays, right? So our minimal set for interior sketching, 3 grays. What's next? I would opt in for dark brown. It could be chocolate brown. It could be very rich, like walnut brown, right? So some kind of dark brown. Why? Because we can render so many textures in brown color. It could be timber, like on the floor. It can be tabletop, which is made of maybe zebrana or walnut again. It could be used for something like leather also. So 4 markers already. Number 5, I would opt in for also a brown palette, but it could be a little bit lighter brown. It could be potato brown, it can be oak brown, something like that. So this is more like beige, grayish brown. So something like that, because it's very, very handy for interior sketching. So it already makes 5 colors. The next one, you will be probably surprised, but I would recommend you to opt in for olive. Because very often I see beginners, people send me their sketches, like students from my online courses, and I see that the sketch looks fantastic, but they decided to introduce planting and greenery, and they did greenery in like super toxic green color, you know, these colors, so almost like they are instantly like jumping out, and they look so strange. So I know that greenery, it always enriches any interior, and of course any interior sketch as well, but you want to do it beautifully. I want you to do it professionally, and architects and interior designers who are trained in sketching, they would never, like 99% never, maybe there is like the right use, like I can hear someone, please. For now, and later I will open a Q&A session, so you can unmute yourself, right? Okay, Marjorie, welcome everybody. Thank you. So this makes it already 6 colors, right? So 2, 3 grays,
Look at that and say, this is a political matter. We shouldn't get involved.
Marjorie, I
think it's political process.
unmute, please. Yeah, thank you. So one more time, 3 grays, dark brown, something like chocolate brown, you know, this Swiss chocolate color. Yes, it is this one. Something from brownish palette, like potato brown or light brown, oak brown would be wonderful. 5 colors. Next, it's olive color for interior sketching. And the 7th one, it is, you decide what you want. I remember I picked for myself back then deep blue, like deep blue color. I really loved it back then, but what I noticed, I didn't use it much actually. So maybe you want to invest something like vanilla or light beige, it would also work wonderful. And you guys, these 7 colors, they're actually enough, believe me, enough to begin with interior sketching. I promise you. Plus, if you have something like colored pencils, right, crayons, even if you have like children, like crayons for kids, they would work wonderful, because in interior sketching, these are what I noticed from my personal experience, from my practice, these are the most popular colors. All right, so for now, please ask me any questions. I'm open now for Q&A, you guys. So just turn on your camera or turn on your microphone, and I will be really glad to chat with you. Kenny, Sharon, Michiko, John, Sam, Helen, Marjorie, Redos. Yes. So you're very welcome to ask me questions. While you're thinking about these questions, what I can recommend you to read on my blog regarding materials, because one more time, I just can see how popular this topic is, and I can see that for a lot of people, it is like a struggle that they do not start sketching because they do not have like a lot of colors. No. So you just want to begin sketching even with 1 pencil. It's enough even with 1 ink gel pen, if you have any pen actually. So I want to recommend you to read a couple of articles on my blog. So if you go to schoolofsketching.com and you select from the menu blog, you can see articles related to interior sketching, materials for sketching. So I would recommend you to use best marker choice for interior sketching. There you'll also know which brands of markers are actually dangerous, could be dangerous for your health. I'm a big believer in quality materials, so I would opt in for less but better quality, because I noticed very often that cheap materials, they actually cause allergic reactions. They cause not like lungs diseases, but these like super strong smell of solvent. It can be really damaging for your respiratory system. So I would recommend you to use to read these articles. For example, simple example, I remember I was already sketching a lot, doing a lot of commissions. I was teaching a lot interior sketching, and I remember that my dream of dreams was to buy 25 set of markers of gray from Copic. I invested in it. It was quite expensive for me back then. And I remember, you guys, when I opened it and I started drawing, that looked wonderful on paper. And Copic, they have very specific, very thick nibs. So you can very quickly cover the space on paper. But at the end of the day, I had like such a strong headache, and I couldn't understand like why, because I'm not a type of person who has headaches. The next day, the same. And then I noticed that it happens actually after I use these markers. So what I started to do, I just started opening all the windows in my apartment that I booked back then. And I was limiting the time that I was drawing this with these markers, with chart packs. I was maybe drawing with 15 minutes, and then I had like a break. And after that, I realized that my health, like, it's so important. It's like health is the most important thing. So I stopped working with these markers at all, even though they look wonderful on paper. They are very professional. So for now, I'm more into like Copics and touch markers. So I've actually, I think I've tried almost all of them. And these two, they are my absolute favorites. So you guys, please ask me questions. Sharon, we have another 5 to 10 minutes maximum to do this Zoom. So you're very welcome to ask me. Helen, Marjorie, Red Dog, Sam, ask me. Mihiko, while I'm here, I'm for you. Ask me questions.
I have a question. I can
Yes.
start. I actually have two. The first one is you've been teaching about watercolor markers and Procreate for interior sketching. And I'm just wondering which one you rotate to or find the more effective for certain projects or clients, if you can comment on that.
Yes. Thank you. I just can't see who is asking. Is it Helen or is it Sharon?
No, Helen.
Oh, Helen. Yes. Helen. So what I noticed, I remember the very thing I've started was watercolor. But what I noticed, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, but what I noticed that watercolor is such a beautiful and versatile technique, but the disadvantage of it, if you want to work with layers, you need to wait while one layer is dry. So this layering technique, when you create really beautiful sketches, almost like illustrations, and you realize that it takes so much time and it kind of contradicts like the initial idea of sketching itself, because sketching is more like spontaneous, very quick reflection of your ideas, right? And watercolor technique was the #1 technique for sketching back then at my art academy in St. Petersburg. So for 6 years, we were working with watercolor, or plus we worked with acrylic, but we never used markers. I don't know why. Maybe because we had like very old school like technique, like ink, Chinese ink, etc. So in 2000, I believe 7, something like that, I switched to markers because it gave me so much more speed. And markers, they have the same beautiful quality as watercolor has, which no other medium has, and it is transparency. So you can work with layering. You can put one layer on top of the other, and the layer that's beneath it can be seen through the next layer. And this creates such a beautiful, almost like vibrant colors that your eyes, they just love looking at it. And then I was, yes, teaching markers, and I'm still teaching markers. And then back in 2020, when my son was born, I found Procreate. I mean, I knew about Procreate. I've seen a lot of artists working in Procreate on Instagram, but I've never really tried it. I was thinking, digital is not really my topic. But when I started working with it, it's so intuitive. For me, I used to work in Photoshop, in like Illustrator, in 3D Max, in AutoCAD, all this stuff, which I don't really love. But since I'm trained as an interior designer, I had to know that, and I was trained to work in these programs. And when I first opened Procreate, I realized that like it is so simple and kind of intuitive. And even now I'm using a couple of brushes, so I'm not like a big fan of using different brushes for everything, because they have brushes for everything. They have a specific brush to show this palm. They have like specific brush for hair, like for everything, like any texture. So I'm working maybe 2-3 brushes in Procreate, and that simply again saves me time, because I don't need to scan my drawing. It's very simple to edit it. So if you, Helen, want to work on sketch commissions, or you are working with your clients and they constantly want to add something or change something, I would recommend to work in Procreate, because it's so easy to work there in layers. You can hide layers. It's very similar to Photoshop, but a bit easier. Plus you have Apple Pencil, so it's very, very quick. So I hope that that answers your question. So I believe watercolor is like the technique of my soul. I really love it. Markers are also like my love, big love. But Procreate is the perfect tool for making sketch commissions. So when I'm working with clients, now I switch to Procreate. I like it, but it's not like my heart and soul is with it. It's very quick. It's like very, very beautiful program. I love it. It's probably the best program for me to use, but I really love markers and watercolor. So I hope that answers your question, Helen.
Yes, thank you so much. I have a second question, but I will defer to others because I see there's some questions in the chat room. But just one thing, I want to thank you so much. You've been fantastic. I've learned so much from you. You've been great. Real gem.
Thank you, Helen. Helen is watching us from Manhattan. So hello, States. So you guys, yeah, I can see a couple of extra questions, so I will touch upon them very quickly because I have like 7 minutes to go. So Sharon, I found the Copic's bleed. Can you suggest? Sharon, you know what? I also thought that Copic's bleed before I knew that I'm actually working on the wrong side of the paper, because if you work with marker paper, there is only one side which is proper side to work on with markers. The other side, it's kind of, it has specific, I don't know what it is, but it's, even if you touch it, it's very like silky, and actually nothing can penetrate this layer they put on this paper. So I thought back then that Copics bleed, but I realized very quickly that I'm working on the wrong side of paper. So Copic, they shouldn't actually bleed after that. When you do feel that your drawing, when do you feel that your drawing is done? I struggle with stopping and keep adding detail. Oh yes, that's a big question. So you know what? Probably timer will really help you with that. So you simply set a timer. So my personal motto is the quicker the better. I noticed that when I have deadlines, like Olga, we need this like in an hour, I create like not a masterpiece, but I create a beautiful work, versus when I understand that I can do this sketch in 2 weeks, it's like it becomes not a sketch but an illustration, you know, when you go into every small little detail, which is beautiful of course, but time-wise we want to become as like optimal, right, with our time. We want to save our time. We want to do beautiful sketches and do it quickly, because as an interior designer, you know that you have heaps, like so many things to work on besides sketching, like clients, like seeing all these like furniture stores, like working on the budget of this project. So it's like never-ending process. So, all right, my dear creatives, I should stop this Zoom session now. I can see lots of people from Australia. Sharon, Australia, yeah. Thank you so much. I can see all your chat. So I hope, Sam, that answers your question. And Yes, I will finish this Zoom now. And the final thing, I just want to announce that in July, I will launch a mastermind for creatives. So it's going to be also like a Zoom sessions with me, where I will go through your sketches. I will see what you're drawing. So I enroll you into my online course base, and we will have meetings on Zoom every week, and I will see what your progress is. So I will simply send the link to this mastermind maybe in my newsletter, so you will see what it is. Also, I will add it on my Instagram, School of Sketching. So yes, that's it, you guys, for now. Thank you one more time, Carrie, Shannon, Mexico, John, Sam. Thank you so much for joining, Helen, Red Dog. All right, have a beautiful evening or day wherever you are in the world. We are here in New Zealand, it's midday. So yes, I can't wait to see you guys very soon. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, Helen.